Dante, we are a little bit late in recording this month. It has been a heck of a month. It's a doozy, isn't it?
What? Don't say we're late. Do not.
Why am I whispering? What do you mean? Don't say we're late. We are late. We want to air this Wednesday. We're recording it on a Monday. We've got to record it. We then got to edit it and make us sound semi-competent, which is really hard work. I mean, it was something called holidays. You had a birthday that I completely forgot to buy a present for, or even wish you happy birthday. We had lots going on.
Yeah, forget about the fucking birthday thing. Anyway, but yes, us doing things at the last minute or running late has happened several times before. So I took steps.
You took steps? What?
You know, steps. Steps, not the band.
No, yeah.
Steps to ensure that we have sufficient motivation to get the work done and the podcast is released on time. Now, our listeners need to have this on the first Wednesday of the month or there will be heck to pay, I say.
Well, if you say so. I mean, I don't know if we had any actual listeners, but I mean, hang a minute. What step have you taken?
I have hired an outside consultant.
Hired? As in you paid money for?
Well, yeah, I mean, money. Not any of my money. I cancelled your PS5 pre-order. I got the refund for it, and so that should pay for it in full. So it's not a full-time thing, but it should cover the next few months, and then we can probably start, selling your other old consoles, all those GameCubes you've got to fund the rest of it.
What? I spent all night clicking refresh on 40 websites to get that PS5 pre-order in. I don't want to sell my consoles. They're my precious.
Look. You don't need it, and you'll only misuse the DualSense haptic controller anyway. It's going straight down your pants, I know it is. This is going to help the podcast, which helps us, which helps the whole world at large get to hear the wonderful Jambags sounds, okay? So remember, we need to make this a success. So you cancelled your PS5 for this.
Well, no, you cancelled it.
The mere details, really. Anyway, I hired this consultant. I might not have fully checked his background, and he might be a little bit on the aggressive side, a little bit more than I was expecting anyway. But I mean, he gets results. He's got a proven track record, but he can be a bit tough, maybe a little bit too tough.
Wait a sec, you're paying someone. What do you mean someone we're paying for is too tough?
Well, if he hears that we're behind schedule and won't make release on the right day, he'll be really quite a meanie pants.
Look, if you think that I am scared of some PS5 cancelling ball bag, you've got another thing.
Oi! Did I hear you say I was a ball bag?
Maybe. Who are you? Hang a minute. Are you the bloke that Dante hired without consulting?
Shut the f*** up, you push southern dandy. You's a lot on my time now, and I heard you say something about missing a release date, you ball bag. Sorry, sir, we think we can make the original date reasonably stay honest.
Right, okay, sorry, seriously. Who the f*** are you, and where are you from?
Oh, allow me to fucking introduce myself then, you wee gubshite. I'm Crunchy McBadtimes. I used to be studio manager and enforced at Cockstar fucking games. Only they went namby-pamby politically correct motherfuckers and decided they didn't need to actually launch their fucking games on time. So your wee little tosspot friend here with his ginger fucking hair employed me to make sure you two jam jars actually meet your releases, you nonsense.
Right, okay, but we pay you? Well, I mean, I suppose my PS5 paid you. You don't get to treat us like shit.
Shh, Rudy, you're making it worse, man. Stop.
Make what worse? We pay for him.
The fucking crunch, pal. Use a C. Since you can't organise a shag and a brothel at a fucking launch window at 5 fucking paces, I'm here to make sure you don't leave the studio till this episode is in the fucking bag.
Studio, Dante. Does he mean my bedroom? Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
So, there you fucking go. You stay right there at your desk, recording, editing, publishing, until the whole lot is done. No fucking fun, no fucking games. No seeing the family or helping to get wee Timmy off to sleep until you've done your work. Any questions?
Who's little Timmy?
Like I give a fucking shite.
Okay, Crunchy, Mr. Crunchy with bad times. I mean, I guess Dante doesn't seem too bad, does it? I mean, we normally take, a couple of hours to record a podcast, another few hours to edit and publish. So, I mean, if I spend a couple of extra hours tonight and tomorrow, we should easily get it done.
Oh, fucking done, are you? That was the old podcast, that was shite. What? You need to be the best. Starting now, your podcast is going to be 12 hours long in bonus
12
time.
hours long? Who in 12 hours long. Who in their right mind is going to listen to that? Plus, it will take us days and days to get that much material, then record it and edit it. It just can't be done.
Oh, can't it? Well, how about if you two spend 26 hours a day working on the bloody thing till it is done? 26 hours a day? Crunchy? How can we manage that? There's only 24 hours in a day.
But I mean, I suppose, Dante, if we had a bit of money cash left over, we could hire someone else or rope them in a bit, maybe. I don't...
Are you two twats not listening to me? There'll be no one extra. That costs money. And you already spent it on me. Best 450 fucking quid you've ever spent. Nah. You need to find those 2 extra hours a day. Oh, and did I mention that this podcast was going weekly? That's right. You need to do this every week to keep the listeners bombarded with content they don't need or fucking want.
Okay, sorry, Crunchy, 1 second. Dante, I have a slight request to make.
Yeah.
Could I possibly have a say next time we hire someone?
Shut your fucking mouth, get your fat ass back on that fucking seat and podcast your little shitty ass off.
That's quite rude.
Hello, Jambaggers, and welcome to another Jambags Gaming Podcast with myself, Mr. Dante Rodriguez, and my esteemed colleague,
Mr. Rudy Manchego.
Hey, Rudy, how are you doing? How has your month been?
Yeah, I tell you what, it's weird, isn't it? Because it's like we're right. It feels like everything's slowed down a bit, in this point. Not obviously in the world. The world's still on fire, but from a pure gaming perspective, this is normally jam-packed with releases, but everything's kind of waiting for next gen, or it's just been moved.
It does say. I mean, it's normally it's sort of Broketober, isn't it? But it really doesn't feel like it this particular October. It's there's maybe one sort of big major release out at the moment, which got a few problems, but maybe more on that a little bit later. But yeah, no, everything's been delayed. I mean, again, obviously, life in general, because certainly here in the UK we're having another 1 month at least shutdown of everything, but also kind of major releases getting delayed, ability to get pre-orders is getting delayed. What else is getting delayed, Rudy?
I mean, I don't know. Should we just delay this podcast?
I think we should. Yeah, no,
just put a statement out saying we're really sorry to disappoint you guys, but early 2021, and then we'll wait till we get some death threats.
I think the first death threat is going to come from a certain Crunchy McBadtimes who's not going to.
That is true. Actually, I am still scared of him. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, everything is kind of just, we're going into for those who aren't long time listeners. If you do go, we're not going to resolve to what we did last lockdown, which was we check out our quarantine special earlier in the year when we possibly took the stay-at-home order a little bit too seriously. Yeah, a bit literally. Didn't really check what we could and couldn't do, so assumed we couldn't leave the house to get food or anything, and ended up going almost insane in your back garden. But this time it's a bit more measured. I think we're a bit more savvy. But at the same time, it is a bit depressing, and people aren't even able to get their shiny consoles in the UK if you've got them ordered in a store. It's just weird. It's weird, eh?
It is. I mean, I've taken the whole month to watch the entire run of that TV series Hannibal, so I've got much better ideas about cannibalism if we do have to do that next time. But yeah, no, I think the uncertainty surrounding the next gen releases, the actual consoles, whether they're going to be available. I mean, I saw a particular YouTuber predict that you're not just going to be able to walk into a store and buy a PS5 until sometime next year.
No, I mean, I could see that. I think that sounds fairly reasonable. I think that there's an element of hype, but I just think there isn't enough units to go around because of COVID and all that kind of stuff. But hey, look, let's not focus on the negative. We've got a pretty big show today, and winter is coming.
It is. That is about the only thing that's not delayed. We can't really delay winter, can we? Winter is on its way.
I tell you what, though, I've got a handy little tip for you, Dante, if you're getting a bit cold, because I know that. you feel the cold in your little toesies.
It is. It's a very kind of vacuous space that I've got here. I do need something to keep me warm. What have you got for me, Rudy? What can I do to stay warm?
Well, it's a good question. What I've done, taken to, is that because we record this and I've got a little little spare room and it's quite cold. It's on the corner of the house.
Well, you've got some of your consoles in there, haven't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So I've got my consoles in there. I don't want to put the whole heating on the house because just for me, because my feet are cold. So what I do is I actually bought myself a copy of Watch Dogs Legion.
I see.
I whap that in on a story mission on the old Xbox and wait for it to completely max out the CPU and GPU until the heat, can't stand the heat. It heats the room up, slows down, takes about 40 minutes to boot back up after it's been bricked. I do it again, and I tell you what, my toes have never been this warm. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Have you added that attachment to the side of the Xbox where you can just, it's like a little round circle that you can crack an egg into and you can use that Watch Dogs heat to cook a fried egg sandwich?
It's not bad there. I might do some bacon sarnie on it actually after this. Just quick a bit of egg and a bacon, just a little bit of a fry up from it. If I probably, just tried pressing a lot of buttons at the same time as trying to do a story mission, I could probably do a souffle, I don't know, or, I could probably roast a chicken on it. I don't know. But
do you not think it might be a slightly better idea just to buy a little portable heater or something like that, rather than risk breaking what I'm guessing about £250-300 console?
I mean, if you want to get, all boring about it, yeah, I could go down a more sort of route. But at the same time, it's just so much heat. It's just literally it's like a kettle, just boils the room. It's just great. And then it's material for the podcast, Dante. Material for the podcast. This is gold. This is gold.
Gold. I'm sure everyone's loving this particular skit that we're doing now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. It's fine. I'll get myself a copy of Watch Dogs Legion and roast my toes off as well then.
Exactly. Next gen's around the corner. Just keep yourself warm over this season, and not like you actually want to play the game.
No. Of course. I mean, officially no, because Ubisoft's success. Although technically, yeah, I've been looking forward to it for a while. But yeah, officially, no game.
Yes, but no, but yes.
Yeah, that sounds like our Prime Minister, really, doesn't it?
Buy Watch Dogs Legion, but don't buy Watch Dogs Legion, but buy it. Play it on your Xbox, but don't brick it. But play it. But don't break the Xbox. No. And if all else fails, you can warm your toesies on it. Something.
Play it with your friends, but don't play it with your friends. Yes, playing games online will give you COVID, which we've discussed on this podcast before.
But don't not play it online. Do buy the DLC, but don't buy the microtransactions. But
do buy things in both of the shitty monetized currencies, since there's two of them in the game.
Should be three, but never mind. Well, we're resorting to prime ministerial gags now, so shall we go into something more topical and get into our news segment?
I think it's probably time for that before this really drags on longer than it should.
And welcome, Jambaggers, to From the Jambags. It is our news segment where we discuss the latest and greatest news that's happening in the gaming world right now. Isn't that right, Dante?
Absolutely, 100% up to the minute, not at all made up twaddle, gaming news.
Completely. And again, we've been saying it's a bit quiet, we're saying things have been delayed. Well, boom, here comes the first news story, and it is all about Ubisoft. You know Ubisoft,
Yeah, we have an interesting relationship with Ubisoft at the minute.
Wow, we've spent a lot of time covering Ubisoft in the last few episodes, particularly some of their woes of a employment nature. But
is it safe to say we're obsessed with Ubisoft?
I think that we think about Ubisoft an awful lot. We do several times a day, if not an hour. But they've basically come out and just said, "This is not going to bother releasing games until 2022, possibly 2022. Later." Depending on when things get done, and it's got nothing to do with HR cases, they're stressed. But they're just the exact words are going to see how it goes. Ubisoft CEO Herbert the Frenchman has announced that its biggest franchises that were originally scheduled for earlier this year, then moved to late this year, and then moved to next year, would probably move to the year after that, or we don't know. And he's quoted, I don't know. They are games, are they not? While smoking a cigarette, which
I can smell that from here.
Yeah, and it's a bold move. I mean, it suggests that perhaps they've not got confidence in their output or their ability to make games or just generally exist in society.
So are they just kind of expecting people to just keep playing their old games then? Do you think that's kind
Well, they have announced a raft of new monetization packages for existing games where you can now get triple XP on just even looking at the cover of one of their games.
Ooh.
And if you actually play one of the games, you get more XP. It doesn't actually practically mean anything in the game. You're still doing the same fetch quests over and over again, or the same infiltration quests on every single one of their games, regardless of what it is. But you'll get more XP doing it, and you'll get a customizable hat.
Yeah, no, I feel like they're just going to fill their old games with adverts, much like 2K, and just going to fill it with adverts so that they're monetizing it that way. So when you go back and play, I don't know, the original Assassin's Creed or Child of Light or something like that, and it just kind of pops up with an advert for TikTok or something halfway through when you're playing. Yeah,
and don't forget, I did mention the hat. There will be a hat that you get, customizable hat. That still costs extra money, but there is technically a hat that can be customized.
I could put this hat on Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
You could put the hat on Assassin's Creed.
I got to go. Just stop the podcast. I need to go play. Sorry.
Oh, well, I was going to ask if you could bring us on
to... Do the next story.
Yeah, do the next story. But if you've got to go and put a hat on a fictional character, you go do that. So I guess if that's that person.
Fine. Okay. Crunchy won't like it if I sod off during the news, will he? Right. Okay. Okay, so moving on to a story about a long-running sci-fi shooter game series, Angel Wings, which a lot of people know about. It's produced by industry giant MaxiPad. They've got those new consoles coming out soon, the M-Box Series M and the new M&M Box Mini. But they've been very highly criticized for taking something out of those games. Certainly, there's like a historical package of all those games, and the new one that's supposed to be coming out with the M-Box Series M. They have removed a lot of the player customizations from the multiplayer games and replaced it with what's being referred to as paid-for shaders.
Ooh, shady.
Yeah, it is a bit shady, isn't it? We start seeing that quite a lot in other games around the gaming industry at the moment. Just kind of locking off something that used to be there for free and putting it behind a paywall. But even more disappointing, though, is that the only colours that are available are various shades of brown, shit shaders by the sound of it.
That is an interesting design choice aesthetically, isn't it, for what has normally been a very colourful franchise?
Well, yeah, it's all the kind of different colours of the ray guns and all that sort of thing. Well, it's taken its inspiration from someone who works for MaxiPad, the CEO Bill Fencer. Bill Fencer says that people are only allowed to have colours that are featured on his last jacket, which should be more than enough for players or anybody else, really.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, Bill Fencer is a jacket man, and damn, he wears them fine. But
he does.
It's a weird direction to take your already struggling franchise. Is to make it less colourful and 50 Shades of Brown.
Yeah,
poo, 50 Shades of Poo, I guess.
50 Shades of shit, yeah. They're just kind of drip it all in that lovely brown aesthetic that other games seem to kind of really go wild for. I mean, sort of Gears of War is mostly all brown in that game. But
that's also Gears of Shite, isn't it? I mean,
yes.
From a colour palette point of view,
no.
It's very, very rusty water colour, isn't it?
it's very, very, very rust filled and sort of tinged and a bit nutty.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I wonder what other now that MaxiPad have bought several other big game studios where they're going to make some of the more colourful games equally as will the new Elder Scrolls game be Elder Scrolls Shower of Shit. From a colour scheme palette point of view.
And sort of Dishonored brown trousers time, yeah.
Instead of Dishonored 2, it'll be Dishonored Poo.
Dishonored Poo.
I don't know, nice. Death of the Yuletide log. I don't know.
Death of the toilet because you destroyed it.
Yeah. Out of interest, this is completely off topic, but I'm going to ask you a question. You're a fan of the Dishonored games.
I am, yes. No, very much so.
Do you read it when you look at the title though? Do you think in your head it's Dishonored or Dishonored?
Well, it's all written in American, so it's Dishonored is very much
that's how I always read it. I just wonder, because I've not played the games yet. I've got them on my backlog. I just wondered if Dishonored was actually the way that they pronounce it in the game. That's an off topic. Sorry, I've just gone.
That's fine. I mean, it's fun to just discover these things even a long way down the line. I mean, about how apparently Ian McKellen thinks we should be pronouncing it Magneto instead of Magneto.
Yeah, I mean maybe even Magento.
Magento.
Or maybe the Magneto buddies. Okay, well, sorry, I've taken us off on a slightly
weird tangent. But let's go on to our next news story.
Yeah, this one...
Rudy, what you got for us?
Okay. This is pretty amazing. So, The Revengers, the comic sensation, which has led to the biggest film franchise in film history, as well as a long legacy of comic books and other media. And you would expect that, the game adaptation of that, epic franchise, The Revengers, minimum effort.
There's a clue in that name somewhere there, isn't there?
Well, has turned out to be, bearing in mind it's built off the back of the biggest franchise of all time, has in fact turned out to be a big floppy flop. They are now recording. It's a remind everyone, Revengers minimum effort is an online kind of
looter shooter sort of thing,
shooter style. Yeah,
it's looter brawler, isn't it? It's not really a shooter because there's no guns involved. It's
a third person brawler, but with all the elements of a looter shooter like Destiny or Warframe,
Borderlands, that sort of thing.
Yeah, or shoot you bang bang 17.
Yes,
but it's actually now recording on Steam. Obviously, when you've got the figures for Steam, we can't get it for console. So, admit this isn't, as much we go. But Steam's always a good barometer of how people are playing these games. Steam is recording currently a concurrent player count of -17.
-17?
Yes.
How's that working?
That some people who have played it are now playing it backwards so they can get back to the start as if they'd never played it before and undoing all their achievements.
I can see why you might want to kind of forget the experience, I suppose. That does make a certain amount of sense.
Exactly. They are literally retracting all their actions and going back to the start of the game so that it's done. I don't know why. I'm guessing they're going to try and take advantage of the Steam policy of saying, well, technically, I've played minus hours, so, I can get my money back. I don't know if that's the plan.
Yeah, you could be right there. That could be why they're taking that approach.
It's a bit like the old, back in the old days, people used to, trick, when selling cars, they'd, wind the mileometer back to make it look like it hadn't gone as many miles, which is, highly illegal. It's like trying to do the same thing on the achievements going, oh, nope, didn't play that game at all. I only played 30 seconds of it and it's a pile of shite, so I've just given it back.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because they've really followed the roadmap of Anthem and exceeded that game's, that game's peak successes by being worse than it. There's still at least 3 people playing Anthem. I mean, I think most of them are, in psychiatric help, but they're still playing it. Whereas,
I was in a chain of shops whose name we've probably mentioned a few too many times on this show before, but it was only £3.50 in that second-hand gaming high street store that I was in earlier today, and I very nearly became the 4th person to be playing it on Xbox at the moment just to see if it was really all that bad. But at the end of the day, I thought, no, I need £3.50 for food.
Yeah, you could just say that's just a couple of ice creams, and that's far more enjoyment probably than playing that game.
Yeah, but that word roadmap even in itself just makes me think of Anthem and all the things that we were kind of promised that we were going to have and probably are never going to show up.
Yeah, and I think it's a roadmap in the sense of it's a dad roadmap, which is don't worry, we've got the route, we're knowing and going. It's going to take a long time to get there. You might not get there, and you'll just wish that you just gone the straight narrow and gone straight to it rather than having a roadmap. Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
Or chosen to go somewhere completely different that wasn't shit.
Yes, very much so. But let's take that. That's Revengers minimum effort is concurrent players is in minus figures, which is possibly a record. But Dante, you've got another kind of record situation going on, which is one for the books, which involves our friends at Digital Paintings.
Digital Paint, yes, those good fun folks at DP. We always like a story about DP here on our podcast.
Apparently we do, yes. We talk about it an awful lot.
We do talk about DP and Ubisoft a little bit too much, but that's probably just the kind of people we are. Anyway, DP have been given a rulings from the Netherlands. Now, that was always a country that I thought was quite friendly to DP.
I thought they were. I'm fairly certain that they support DP in a lot of ways.
Yeah, no, they seem very in favour of it for a lot of things, but apparently that draws the line at the loot boxes in their sports games. And it has been a ruling from the Netherlands that the DP sports games that have the loot boxes in them should absolutely be considered gambling because, well, let's just face it, loot boxes are gambling. And, they should be removed or they will continue to receive a rolling fine. So for every week they don't fix the loot box problem, they get another fine on top of it up to something like, is it 500,000 euros or something like that?
Wow, that is... that's a lot of money. That's more than we make ever.
It is. It's way more than we would make anyway. Now, you'd think that DP would be particularly bothered, but you think this kind of thing would be something they'd want to fix. But we've seen a press release. I don't think Rand Morbucks actually gave this one in person. I think he just wrote it down. I don't think he got out of bed for it. It basically says, scribbled on it looks like a beer mat or something like that. It says, "Wake us up when it's a country we care about." Oh, there's a little arrow at the bottom. It says, so I flipped the beer mat over to, don't tell anyone important about this or it might affect how we're seen in countries we actually care about.
Wow. I mean, for someone that's been a long time supporter of DP, that statement from, their CEO is very callous. But
it is. It's very, very, kind of. It's clear that that DP does not like the Netherlands at this point. They aren't interested in having DP in the Netherlands.
It's amazing. I would never have said that outcome was going to happen in a million years. But hey, look, this is the year of COVID. This is the year of things just being turned upside down. Maybe the Netherlands just isn't interested in DP anymore.
Maybe they're just going to cut their losses and not have it there.
Yeah, and I guess Rand Morbucks is just it could just be the end of, you'd like to think that this kind of callousness to an entire nation would put a stop to his and cost him a lot of money, but it just feels like he's going to get away with this one as well, and so is DP. He's going to run away with it. Yeah,
just going to completely let it slide all over the place. But hey, that just seems like the kind of business that they're doing at the moment. Just cutting and running and just kind of focusing on sort of nearby audiences and markets and stuff like that. So they'll just take deep anywhere that will take DP, they'll have it. But if they don't want it, then I guess they have the option to not take it.
And everyone should have the option not to take DP if it's not something they want.
Absolutely,
it's just it's freedom of choice. But I think that wraps up our news stories today. We've got a couple more features we need to get into. I think, Dante, shall we? Should we move on to our next section?
Are you sure I think we could have milked that DP joke for just a little bit more. What do you think?
I think there's always another episode for a bit of DP milking.
We never get tired of DP here on this podcast.
We don't.
Okay, let's move on to our interview section. And hello, Jambaggers. Welcome to the Developer Jam. We are here to talk to one of the leading figures in the gaming industry over its history, it's someone who's a long-time friend of the show. It's our good friend, Mr. Peter Molnyes. Yes, hello, Peter.
Hello.
Hello. So we thought we'd get you on the show to talk about what's going on with the industry at the moment. Obviously, it's a critical point, the start of a new generation. We want to answer any of the questions that we've got to really satisfy some of those burning topics that we want to talk about. And we want to hear about what Peter Molnyes and your company is doing about upgrading current generation games for the Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, and the PS5. We know you started on a Commodore 64 that only had 7 working keys, and your famed debut Noodle Dumpling is one of my sort of childhood favorites.
Classic, yeah.
Yeah, no, self-proclaimed classic, sure, but I think that's quite right to say that. You're perhaps most famous for Dragon's Hacky Sack, the whole series of that, and maybe a slightly well known for both the quality of the game or perhaps some of the controversy surrounding the epic series Fondle, which you're fairly well attributed to.
Oh yeah, great games, all of them great games. Really, you should download them now.
Well, I would, but I'm talking to you on this podcast. But yeah, when we're done, maybe I'll think about downloading.
Yeah, definitely download them. Yeah.
So, Peter, can you tell us a little bit about the game you are hoping to release next week? Anus Horribilis, a self-styled fantasy puzzle 16-bit hack and shoot them up.
Well, yeah, thank you, Dante, for having me on again and talking to me about our latest game, which we're very excited about, as you can imagine. Anus Horribilis is a spiritual successor to an older game I made for the Philips CDI called Ring Quest Peace. And
that's a good one. I played it.
It's a great game. Another great game. Download it now on Steam. An exciting point-and-click adventure where you play as a Latin researcher by day and a dashing treasure hunter / bigamist by night. So each level would have you net another wife, which, let's face it, is all we really want in our video games. But in Anus Horribilis, you can marry anyone's wife. The choice is yours. Ooh. You can even marry your brother's wife if you want to, even though he doesn't, talk to you after you tried to cop a feel of his wife at New Year's 1998.
Oh, wow. That's very specific. But yeah, that's so. Your last 7 games never quite made it out of early access. What makes this one different? How is this one going gold?
Yeah, I can see what you're kind of getting towards there. But the truth is, and I'll tell you, Dante, is that Microsoft will not give me any money to put games on Game Pass because they don't work and boot up, and that's the rules to get them on Game Pass and get the money. They've got to boot up and work. So I thought what I'd do is I'd actually release the game and get it to boot so that it was not technically in early access. I will probably get a few quid from those blokes that make the Windows on it on Game Pass. Then we'll just sit back and watch that fat royalty money roll in. I mean, I can throw it on Steam, obviously, but they'll take any old shite. Next gen's where the money is, though.
I see. Yeah, no, that's a good strategy. Interesting business ideas there. So, you've been quite vocal about your games having next gen upgrades. I mean, what markets are you targeting? What are you trying to achieve with some of these classics that you're trying to re-release?
Well, look, Dante, I'm not one for hyperbole and for exaggerating things, but this next generation is going to change the way you think about everything in existence ever. It's going to blow everyone's mind, and as a result, we want Anus Horribilis to really, really stand out in their market. So, as a world exclusive, I'm going to tell you right now on this podcast what we're targeting from a hardware perspective. Let me just go through it. First of all, we're targeting 9K resolution.
Oh, that's some serious Ks you've got going there.
We're going to use all these, new SSDs that they've got, and we're gonna have 0.00003 seconds loading times for everything, and that's not just logging onto the game, but that's moving between environments. That will be the zero, however many zeros I said would be on that one. 273 frames per second on everything, even loading screens when nothing happens.
High def.
Fully integrated AI, robot people in the game. And not only that, but because we care about our customers, you'll have the ability to detect whether you've got COVID-19 by just using the controller.
Wow! Oh my goodness! Yeah, that sounds like something I want to play and be involved in. I'd love to have a kind of constant checker to see if me or anyone I know about has got the COVID. But can you actually deliver on these promises? Is this something that we can realistically expect on launch day?
Well, look, the only way to know is to go out and get yourself a new console at launch and buy, copies of Annus Horriblis to find out, because that's the only way that you are going to find out just how amazing our next gen upgrade actually is.
That's the only way. I mean,
Completely.
potentially. What about reviewers? I mean, if some of this stuff isn't in the game or hasn't quite made it, won't reviewers be able to tell me if something's not quite there?
Well, no, I've thought ahead of that. I really hate the fact that reviewers spoil the surprise about whether a game actually boots. So what I've done is we've said, our company has said there is an embargo on all reviews until at least 2023. And I've also disabled the Steam review page. And not only that, to combat those, cheeky buggers on YouTube or Twitch, what we've done is we're going to slap copyright claims on any streamer or channel that's talking about the game. We're also accusing them of trying to get off my mum, if that helps, just to make sure that they're not talking about our game.
Yeah, no, that would certainly shut up all those people on Twitch, wouldn't it? They would not want to be associated with
my mum's
trying to mac on your mama. So what's the upgrade plan? I mean, do consumers need to buy? Can they get the upgrade with their existing copies? Do they need to buy a new patch for it? How do I get these upgraded versions of all these classics?
Look, I mean, it's really very simple, and I think this is something that we've had to take a lead with in the industry because of all the shenanigans and the greedy bastards out there trying to shake a few extra quid out of those hard-working gamers. I can tell you right now, the Annus Horriblis for next generation, if you buy, you'll get it's a downloadable upgrade, and it's totally free as long as you buy 3 copies of the game.
3 copies.
And then that upgrade to next gen is free for a month. Otherwise, if you have 2 copies, it's only 75% of the full price for 2 weeks, and then an extra 36% after those 2 weeks, which then unlocks the next gen copy for 6.5 days. And if you only have 1 copy, you need to buy 4 more at full price, both digitally and physically, and then you'll get obviously the free upgrade. So it's quite simple and really good value.
Okay, I mean that does sound like horrifically complicated and bad times, but it at least sounds better than getting a next gen upgrade for Control, which is a piece of shit. But
exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm on board with that, Mr. Molnyes. So okay, so what plans for the future? I mean, now, so once Annus Horriblis gets released, what are your what are you going to go back and remaster some classics, or have you got some new games in the works?
I mean, to be honest, we were thinking about making some new games, maybe a sequel to Annus Horriblis called Annus Horriblis Terrage, but to be honest, it's quite a lot of work making games when what we could do is just get like Dragon's Hacky Sack 1, 2, and 3 and the other old games and just host them on these new generation systems, and those sad twats will buy them again. So probably just do that, to be honest. Make a few quid that way, and then piss off on holiday for a year once the airports have opened up.
Yeah, no, you're not going to catch me with that one, although I'm going to go and buy yet another copy of Resident Evil 4. So shit, that would totally get me, wouldn't it?
I mean, imagine Dragon's Hacky Sack at 12k.
12k? You're going to go all the way up to 12k and with Dragon's Hacky Sack?
And 0.00, actually no, minus seconds load times. It actually loads before you even want to play it.
Wow. Okay,
and the bit of the Dragon's Hacky Sack where you have to hack the sack off the dragon.
Yeah, the whole sack, when you have to retrieve its jambags. Yeah.
Well, those sacks move at 2,000 frames per second. The eye can't even detect it.
Right. Okay. No, yeah. I am definitely looking forward to that. I already own Dragon's Hacky Sack on the C64 and the Amiga and the
if
PC
you already own it,
and
you
the
already
PS1.
need another 6 copies to get. Yeah. If you've already owned it, you only need another 6 copies to get a free upgrade to next gen. So, bargain.
I think I've only got 5 copies.
Well, if you buy another one, you'll get it next gen for 2 days.
Right. Okay. No, I'm going to go and save my money. I mean, I was going to buy, sort of loads and loads of loo roll because that's what everyone's doing at the moment. But no, I think we're going to buy that instead. Thank you very much.
Buy Dragon's Hacky Sack. You can. Once you've upgraded, you can wipe your ass on the first 5 copies.
Nice.
Yeah, worth bugger all.
Well, Peter Molnyes, have you got anything else you would like to say to the Jambags listeners before we wrap this interview up? Thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, if any of our loyal gamers do have any questions or want to know anything about it, do send us a letter to, P.O. Box. Don't give a shite. And yeah, we'll not look at the letter. Okay then. Thanks. I've got to go now. Bye.
Okay, bye, Peter. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Dante?
Hey, Rudy, what's up?
Well, okay. Well, what are you doing here for a start, if you know what I mean?
Well, in the recording area.
Yeah, well, you're never here. It's very unlike you to actually be, here in the recording area.
But we're supposed to be here. I'm pretty sure I can't move my legs because Mr. McBadtimes might have broken them at some point. But he was very clear on us staying here.
Wait a sec. Crunchy McBadtimes is here. Is he here? He's not here,
well,
is he?
I mean, he's not here right now. I'm sure he's watching or listening, or he always is. But, I mean, why would I be anywhere else?
No reason. I just wondered if you'd heard the, Dante, the news that came out last week, about a certain video game delay.
Yeah, I thought you were going to bring this up at some point. Yes, I have heard about the delay to Cyberpunk 2077.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Again.
And I want you to know that I'm here for you, man. Okay, we're not just co-hosts on a podcast. We're not just friends, since childhood. We're more than that. We're well, actually, that's pretty much is what we are, actually. But pretty much, yeah. That's all I want from you, to be honest. Anything more than that would be a bit creepy. That is the extent of our relationship. But I'm still here for you, man. I'm trying to get to, and I just want to know that you're okay with it. Because I mean, look, I was worried, and I looked everywhere for you. I went, back to your mum's house. I went to that old bunker where we nearly ate each other that time. That weird psychiatric prison where you ended up last time when they delayed Cyberpunk, and you went Hannibal Lecter on me.
Yeah, wacky fun times.
Yeah, they were a real hoot. We really drew in the listeners with that episode. But I mean, but you're okay. I mean, let's just be quite serious. You are okay with it, right? You seem okay. Are you okay?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's for the right reasons this time. I mean, you remember how CD Projekts went back on their promise about not to enforce crunch on their staff, which they did it, they've done it, and now they're crunching.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that. And yes, that's true. So,
Yeah, so this means this delay. I mean, I feel a little bit better about it because they don't have to do that now. They're not making people miserable. They're not making people not see their families. They're not damaging their mental health by enforcing crunch on them. They said they wouldn't do it. And I like CD Projekt Red. I always thought they're one of the sort of the good guys of the gaming industry, and I feel a lot better knowing that they're actually the fluffy, cuddly, nice people that I thought they were. Unlike the other meanie weenie evil developers like DP and all those other people, and they're the good guys. Now I can look up to them, and they are the good guys. So by doing this, they're being good guys, and they're not crunching their staff, and that makes me feel okay.
That. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, Danzo. That is a massive relief for me. I can't. You don't know how. I mean, it's unexpected, but it makes me so glad. It really does. You don't know how glad this makes me.
Is that a taser? Have you got a taser? Why was there a taser in your hand?
I'll just put that. No reason. Definitely not related to what we were just talking about. But look, I fully agree, man. I mean, look, extra time surely means that CD Projekt Red, CDPR, they cancelled their crunch. They're not going to put their workers through that for many more weeks. What monster would do that? Who would force them to do that just to make this arbitrary deadline? The game will be ready when it's ready.
Exactly.
And these are the good guys. They're the gaming good guys.
That's
not the bad
what
guys.
I said.
Yeah.
Yes. See, I'm on the CDPR website right now, and they've actually set up a live stream. We can see how happy they all are.
I mean, that is pretty cool. And I've always imagined it as being like this kind of, I don't know, this kind of really fun place to work. Like, you come in every day.
Like the Google offices.
There's really groovy offices, and there's loads of fun. There's great coffee machines. Everyone's high-fiving, just being creative and just really coming up with some that's where they came up with all the best bits, like the Bloody Baron storyline and Witcher 3.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, just the good stuff. Just magic happens. It's like
creativity really flowing in an environment
just
like
juices
that.
and stuff like that. And looking at them here, they do look pretty happy. They've all got these really big, like, forced grins on their face, but it's muted. Can we hear what they're saying? Can we hear what's going on? Maybe we can get a bit of an idea of what's any sort of teasers for the game.
I think they've blocked it, but if I go through this VPN, I think I can. Oh, yep, there we go.
Oh.
Now smile for the fucking cameras, you soft Polish pricks. And maybe I'll let some daylight into this happy beanbag-filled hipster's wank palace. Now, keep it up while I go back and make sure those two podcasting shit stains are at their fucking desks.
Dante, I can see that this is Dante. Just wait, Dante.
Fly, Asian Manchego. Looks like I'm having an old friend for dinner after all.
Beans, I knew I'd have to use this thing in the end. Right, Dante.
No, not after burrito night.
Oh, wait a sec. I'm just gonna have to. Dante. Oh, I think he's out. Okay, thanks for that. Hold on, I'm just gonna. All right, mate. I know you've had a bit of a psychotic break. I'm just gonna put you in here, put you in this cage. That's it. There we go. There you go. And slick. I will let you out in December when presumably this will all be over and you can play the game. All right. Okay, mate. All right. Bye.
And that brings us near to the end of yet another Jambags Comedy Gaming Podcast. Thank you for listening this far, Jambaggers. And we have our usual ending, which is going to be some user questions. I think we just got the one this month.
Yeah, it's a Halloween thing. Well, we're recording this just after Halloween, so it's one, it's obviously submitted before that, but it's of a spooky nature, and we thought, it's a good question. We'll include it. Yeah,
why not? So who's it from, and what's the question?
It is from, I don't know, I think this might be a pseudonym, based on a horror film of Massive Coons. And they asked, which film horror franchise would you like to see a video game adaptation of? So obviously we've got a few that already exist. You've got Alien Isolation. There's been, Alien Isolation. There's been
loads of Alien games of varying quality.
Predator games. We've had, Friday the 13th. Game.
Yes.
There's quite a few. There are already a few out there, but it's also one that is not as many as you'd expect. I think most other games have been milk dry. I mean, there were some more random ones, I guess, like late 90s, early noughties. You had things like Evil Dead adaptations, Ash, games and stuff. But yeah, it's a good question. It's an interesting one. So Dante, hit me with your pitch. Hit me with the pitch straight away.
Okay, so my pitch for what I think would be a fairly decent horror game would be an adaptation of 30 Days of Night, which was a comic first, and then it was a film that had Josh Hartnett in it as one of my sort of favourite horror films of probably the past sort of 10, 15 years or so. I think that would make quite a good game if you are one of the kind of survivors with this kind of constant threat of vampires of seeing you and no escape. You're kind of setting traps for them, trying to evade them, that sort of thing. I think that would make a pretty decent horror adaptation.
Yeah, it's a good one because the 30 days obviously refers to the fact that you're in a town that goes with 30 days of no sunshine, which means that the vampires have a right old time on you, and it's very tense. So there's quite a lot of stealth elements to it because the vampires are no match for the humans in this one. There's no chance of survival, if you know what I mean. So it's very stealthy. I can see that working as a stealth horror game with quite a good eerie setting.
I
with
think
the snow
so. Yeah,
and the blackness and Yeah. Okay.
Blood does look pretty awesome on snow, doesn't it? As the director of the raid definitely said.
Completely. Yeah, that's a really good choice. Really, really good choice. I like it. I commission that. If I had the rights or the ability to make games, I would commission that straight away.
Oh, my pitch got through. That's not bad. Okay, so what's yours?
I definitely want that one. My one. Tell you what, I'm going to go. One of my favourite horror films of the last 15 years. It's got times going. Cabin in the Woods.
Oh yeah.
So the co-written, I think, by Joss Whedon, who, is, depending on where you read, is a good or bad thing right now. But as the film concept is, it's a bunch of teens who are like very sort of, demographically similar to every horror film we've ever seen, go to a cabin in the woods and get attacked by something. But there's obviously there's a lot more going on than just that, and it's a lot more explores.
Yeah, we don't want to give too many spoilers. Yeah,
it's an old film, really. But it is a film I would hate to spoil for anyone. But it's a film that deals deliberately with horror tropes and why those tropes exist. And I think that gives you endless replayability because you don't have to just be one film. There's a lot of different genre bending in that film, and you could get a good scenario on there. So I think that would be my go-to choice. I have a backup choice, but that's my go-to choice. So
okay, let's see your backup. I think that would be I would probably pitch that because it's got that sheer amount of replayability, of adaptability to you could have completely different monsters each playthrough. I think that would work pretty well. But I'm interested to hear about this. So this backup that you've got. That's
pitch number one. But if I was pitching to you and it didn't go well, I come up with pitch number two. Pitch number two I think this one is possibly too horrifying for a video game medium. It's Twilight. Well, not just one Twilight. It's Twilight Saga. I'm going to call it the saga. So it's not just one adaptation. It's all of it.
Okay, that's scary in itself that you'd have to try and fit a whole saga into the game. Yeah, but please continue.
It's a very simple concept, though. I want to cook that, which is basically it's got 20+ hour runtime, and all you do for the majority of the game is stare wistfully at other characters with
great hair. I'm guessing
good hair. But you've got a very blank expression on your face, and occasionally you press a button to wonder, to voice the audience of, why does this really cool vampire like me? And you just do that, and then at the end there's some, a few cutscenes at the end. You have a baby, and you bloke that fancies you ends up shagging the baby instead. But that's again just to keep it tied back into the books at the end. But
we have no problem with spoiling Twilight because it's already pretty well spoiled, isn't it?
I mean, literally the end of it is she has a baby, it grows up in like 5 minutes, and then the other love interest shags it.
Wow, that's so romantic.
Yeah. And so wrong that the mainstream, it's just so wrong, isn't it? Anyway.
Okay.
But which makes it even more terrifying. If it'd be a great adaptation.
If we're pitching things that we think, slightly backup pitches, as we might call them, then I'm going to pitch one more to you, and that's going to be Bubba Hotep.
Oh, you don't have to go.
Escape from the nursing home with the Zimmer frame, and try and shuffle out of the nursing home before the mummy gets you.
I mean, I'm just going to say before I go into details, you didn't even say more than a name. You're already greenlit. Have $100 million. There's a budget. Boom. Make that game for me. Yeah. So for listeners who don't know, Bubba Hotep is a very low budget sort of horror comedy, I guess. It's a bit of a, it's actually more of a dramedy as well, because it's about, it's kind of set in a world where Elvis didn't die. He actually escaped the life of fame and got a double to replace him.
That's it, yeah.
But he's ended up on hard times in a kind of very poor old people's home, where he becomes friends with a guy who thinks he's JFK.
Well, he might actually be JFK. I mean, you don't know if it's never really answered whether or not he's
exactly. For whatever reasons, the old people's home becomes home to a demonistic mummy from Egypt, who is sucking the life out of the souls out of people's asses.
The residents, yeah.
So quite literally, and it's interesting because it's very silly, obviously, and slapstick, but at the same time, it's got a real bit of pathos to it, which is the fact that it's always confronting the fact that, he did a lot of wrong in his life. And
he's kind of wasted his life in a particular way.
Yeah, and this is a way for him to try and do something, something good, and right. And it's it's a very, very well acted film as well.
It stars the legendary Bruce Campbell as Elvis, doesn't it?
And it's a great performance. So I'm just going to say, off the bat that I'll greenlit that game. You don't need to say, I don't even care what the gameplay mechanics are. You're in. It's fantastic.
Two for two.
You've got 2 for 2. What are you thinking of my ideas then? So Cabin in the Woods and...
I am there for Cabin in the Woods. Yeah. I might need to see proof of concept for the Twilight one, because it might cause me to gouge my own eyes out and just not want to go on with life at all if I had to sit through...
I'm pitching 4 horror games. If it evokes that kind of response in you, which is the correct response, by the way, Just going to say it's doing its job, right?
That's true. That is a good point. I didn't think about it that way. If we truly want to horrify people, then that's going to.
I mean, I didn't say the games would be enjoyable. Massive Coon in the question didn't ask whether it'd be enjoyable horror games.
No, Massive Coon is. I think he's going to be the sort of person who would enjoy Anus Horriblis.
I think he'll buy at least 4 or 5 copies. We'll get that next gen upgrade, guaranteed.
Absolutely.
But anyway, looking at the time, Dante, we are actually pretty close to the end of the show now. So should we do how people can get in contact with us?
Let's do it. So if you want to get in touch with the Jambags crew via the socials, there are several areas that you can do that from. You can talk to the Jambags Facebook page. If you search for Jambags on Facebook, you will find us pretty easily. You can find us on Twitter. You can find the official Jambags_UK Twitter handle, which is maintained by Rudy, and at DanSolo96, which is maintained by Dante. You'll be able to get in touch with us there. You can also get in touch with us through the Instagram, which is trying to diversify slightly from pictures of Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey, possibly to Emily from Dishonored 2, and anything else that I'm sort of crushing on at this particular moment. Maybe some retro games as well. But yeah, that's the Instagram account that's managed by Dante as well. You can also get in touch with us via YouTube. You'll find uploaded copies of the more recent podcasts on the YouTube account, as well as other videos that we are really trying to release more of onto that platform. How can they listen to the podcast, Rudy?
Well, I'm glad you asked. If you are listening to this, it seems like an odd thing to say, but we do upload to Simplecast, which is where we host it. So you can only get to that link from our Twitter or Facebook feeds. But also, it's an RSS feed. So if you've got any RSS apps that use that, you can find us on there. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. And as Dante said, we upload a audio-only copy of this to YouTube with a background image. So you can listen to us on the YouTube and drop comments, which would be lovely, and you can like and subscribe and all that good things. If you do listen to us on like Apple Podcasts or anything, do follow us, do leave a review. It really makes a big difference to us. We've got a few lovely reviews on there already. It just means we're more likely to get found by other people, and then you can waste someone else's time by liking it. So think about that, everyone. Yeah. But that's pretty much it for this. So by next episode, if I've got my calculations correct, next gen will be out. So
you should be playing your PS5, and I should be crying into my beer that I haven't been able to find a Xbox Series X.
Absolutely. So expect some early thoughts on the PlayStation 5 and whether I can fit it underneath my TV unit.
God, that thing is huge. I mean,
short
I've
answer.
Seen so many.
Doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too. I've seen so many unboxing videos, and actually, it looks like the Xbox Series X is a little smaller than I thought it was going to be. It might be a little bit more compact, but that massive PS5 is you're going to struggle to fit that anywhere.
Yeah, so particularly with any kind of ventilation, that'll mean it's actually workable. But so there you go. That'll be a good half-hour segment, which is did Rudy manage to get his PS5 into his TV unit, or did he have to hack the whole thing apart and just wedge it in there and hope it works?
Which retailer have you pre-ordered it for? It's not from Game, is it?
Unfortunately, unfortunately, it's with Amazon. It was the only place that I managed to refresh it. I couldn't get it online anywhere else, and I didn't want to do it in store because I was worried about lockdowns and so on. So, touch wood, if everything goes well, I'll get it delivered on the day. But this is 2020. God knows. So
yeah, that's not kind of jinx too many things from there. But it does sound like the people that pre-ordered it at Game are having a fun time.
Oh yes, if it's in store, yes, absolutely. Okay, then guys. Well, we'll catch you next time.
Bye bye, Jambaggers. See you next month. And another podcast in the bag. That's good work, I think, Rudy.
It is. But what's that crying sound I can hear from down the corridor?
Oh, they've fucking done their job, and I've got no one to shoot at. Oh man.
Oh, whoa, crunchy McBadtimes.
What do you want? What do you want?
Well, what's up, man? I mean, look, we've got the podcast in the bag. I mean, it's 12 hours, give or give or take. I mean, take quite a lot, I suppose. But what's up, man? We don't want to see. We don't want anyone crying on the Jambags podcast.
I'm done, and nobody will hire me in the gaming because they're all PC politically correct douchebags now. So I've got nothing to do.
Oh, well,
I've got no one to scream at, because that's what I do. I scream at people, and I don't know if I like screaming at people, and I don't know if I like myself, because all I can do is scream at people.
Wow, I mean, that is some, I can just see by the tear look in your eyes, you're going through some stuff there, Crunchy. And I mean, look, if someone will hire you. I mean, look at Dante, he hired you. I mean, he's, he can't be the only retard out there.
Didn't I see him twitching in a cage downstairs?
Yeah, he may have had a psychotic break about cyber. It's not the point. It's not the point, though. Look, man, I just want to say to you is that, there's a whole world out there for you, Crunchy McBadtimes. You don't have to spend it all, shouting at people and calling people cockings. You don't need to do that. You are your own person, okay? And we're here for you, man. You've joined the Jambags team. We want you to do well. And hey, look, for what it's worth, you were good at your job, okay?
Yeah.
You were good.
I was good at my job, wasn't I? I was great at my I was the best at my job. What the fuck are you looking at? Get your ass back into your desk and do another. No, you got next week's podcast. Start planning it. Start editing this week's and planning next week's. Now you're mine.
Oh, we had a moment.